Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Quantum Racing League. I hope you were all having a good day. And it is the start of the postseason, transitional season, if you will, of the 100%. So we are starting off round one today in COTA, the great track located in Texas. And we are currently just waiting for things to start up. We have got a one-shot qualifying followed by a 100% race. So it is your average league race weekend, so nothing to worry about in terms of time constraints here. But we do have a 100% race, which means we are going to see varied strategies and several drivers wanting to do something to try and take pole position. This is your calendar for the quick season, so of course we're in COTA this week. Next week we're in Saudi Arabia, then the week after we'll be in Japan, then Hungary, Imola, before finishing off in the iconic Interlagos circuit. Let's see where we currently stand in terms of the session, and we have actually begun already. So at the moment we have Saint Skill Issue on pole position right now, and then it's followed by Lasser, but it's definitely the fight for 7th and 8th where the fight seems to be happening. Let's just have a quick look as I'll just need to get one thing. There we go. We can just make that a bit more fluent. I'm not really sure why it's doing that. I do apologize. But at the moment, we are currently underway in the short qualifying. So we'll hide the UI, bring the lap data on, bring up the full track map. At the moment, I'm having audio issues, it seems, and game capture issues as well. Oh my word! Hang on. There we go. Turn that down as well. Sorry for the janky start to the stream, everybody. Hopefully this can sort itself out. There we go. We're still getting the fade out, so we'll just kind of have to deal with that as we see fit at the moment. So there you go. Polka Petri, Mr. Goat, Antoni, and Panther, unfortunately, will not finish the session. Mr. Goat going out on the hard compound of tyres there. And then it is currently Max Martin still on pole position. So here we go. We're coming to the end of the one-shot quali now. Who's going to go fastest? It is a Max Martin with a 131. So there you go. We caught that just in time. Now, in actual fact, Alteza, of course, who we were commentating on previously a couple of weeks ago, in contention, who was in contention for the championship, only in 7th position. So there we go. There's your grid as it stands right now. It's Max Martin in pole, Saint Skill Issue in 2nd, Hockey Adam in 3rd, Bloodsport in 4th, Maxet in 5th, Pink Panther 42 in 6th, Alteza, then Lee Dog, Night Nerd, and Buzz rounding out your top 10. Further down the field, though, you've got Rosso, Hidalio, Big Sauce, Polika, Mr. Goat, Quinn Tony, I can't remember how to pronounce that, I'm sorry, Panther, Lasser, and something, unfortunately, who were not able to set a time in the one-shot quali. So, anyway, what do we have to say about COTA? It is hosted the Formula One Grand Prix between 2012 and 2019, and of course took the 1-year break due to COVID, and has hosted since 2021. Of course, it has since shared hosting duties for the American side of the F1 Grand Prix circuit with Miami and Las Vegas equally. The fastest lap time around here is a 1:36.169, which was set by Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari SF90 back in 2019. This track consists of, hang on, I'll get it up for you in a second, 20 turns, and is 3.426 miles, which translates to 5.513 kilometers an hour, and has 2 DRS activation zones. One just going past one of the longest straights in the F1 calendar, and then of course the start finish line, of course, which we are currently looking at the pit lane of right now. The conditions appear to be overcast. Will we see rain during this Grand Prix? Of course, that will have an effect on driver strategy when we come round to it, but at the moment it seems to be holding off, but we will see. We have 56 laps of a Grand Prix, and definitely anything can happen in those 56 laps. So for those of you who are just joined, first of all, hello to you. Welcome to the broadcast. We have just finished the one-shot qualifying where Max Martin took pole position He is going to be starting at the front of the field in the Alpha Tauri, if I remember correctly, and we will see if he can hold that going into the first corner. So at the moment, we are just waiting for the players to load up. Of course, there is a 2-minute hold as set by the admins, so we won't see action right away. I'm just bringing up a track map as we speak so that we can then have a more accurate look at the track. Now, there's a couple of corners here which are inspired by Silverstone. You'll particularly see it going through turns number 3, 4, 5, and 6, and so on. Very much inspired by the corners Maggots and Beckett's back in Silverstone. And then, of course, you've got that big long straight between turn 11 and 12, which is, of course, the first DRS zone on the track. And one of the longest straight lines, well, straightaways in the Formula One calendar, which, of course, I think is either just in behind or just in front of the Chinese Grand Prix. Speaking of, I hope you did enjoy the Chinese Grand Prix today, which was on at about 8 a.m. my time. It was sure interesting to see Lance Stroll crash into the back of Daniel Ricciardo. If you have any talking points from that race that you would like to discuss about in chat while we're waiting, please feel free to do so. And yeah, it would be nice to hear your opinions. But in fact, we don't have time. We are now going to get racing. You can see Max Martin on pole. We have 5 red lights. And we are racing in Kota for the 100% season. And it's, unfortunately, we've got somebody stuck on the grid there. But there's Saint Skill Issue down the inside of Max Martin there. And Hockey Adam trying to do the same thing. But all remains line astern. It's Max Martin who loses out on pole. BTA Altezza making up positions as well, up into 6th position. Losing out, though, is One Night Nerd. I thought he was going to improve there. But it's Bloodsport down 14 positions. And there is contact already going through turns 4, 5, and 6. There has been somebody who's missing a tyre. And I believe a safety car will be deployed. If not, a VSC has already been deployed. But Bloodsport, down 13 positions, has just been given a lifeline. Hey, Dave, there is no game sound for your stream. Oh, I'm very sorry. I don't know why that is, because I can hear the game. That is very weird. That is very weird. Give me a second. I'm so sorry. Let me just have a look into that very quickly. Thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. I'll just go back to the webcam now. Let's just make sure you can hear the music. No, oh wow, there's been no music at all. There is something that's gone wrong here. I'm so sorry. I have to apologize to the admins and whatnot, so I'm just going to cut to webcam very quickly. There has been no sound at all, so I am so sorry. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Oh my god, my OBS is screwed up. I'm so sorry. You can probably... Can you hear that now? Yes, you can. All right, that should be all good now. I'm so sorry about that. That is awful of me not to pick that up. But anyway, we've got back underway. No safety car required, so it's still Saint Skill Issue leading the way. Turns out we did not need the safety car at all, but unfortunately, Lasser 703 in the Mercedes has unfortunately retired from the race due to contact through turns 4, 5, and 6. So Night Nerd losing out position eventually. They're down 1 in 10th, but Max Martin will be looking to get that lead back, but Saint Skill Issue is forcing the issue in the lead and trying to get out of that DRS window. Of course, DRS is activated next lap, and of course, you're seeing possible race strategies. Let's see what the drivers have selected. Some have gone for the soft, but I don't think we will be seeing the drivers do a 4-stopper like the game suggested. Unfortunately, I was on my webcam. We can go back to the game. Yep, thank you, Herman. There you go. Not a very good day for me in the commentary box so far. I do apologize to admins there. That was an absolute cock-up by me. But anyway, Altezza is now starting to make a position up on Al Maxet there. So he's now up into 5th position from 7th there. So up 2 positions as it stands right now. Lots of good clean racing so far, but unfortunately for Lasser, he will not finish the race, of course. Now, yeah, again, there you go. Now we have AWS giving me a second chance here. Of course, it's suggesting a 4-stop, which is a bit weird if I say so myself, as Maxet makes a move on lead dog and now up into 6th position. But at the moment, in terms of the top 3, they're pretty much just fighting there with them, and they've actually gone out of the DRS of Pink Panther. So Pink Panther is going to be a little vulnerable if Altezza manages to catch up, but Altezza at the moment is vulnerable to the DRS. Saint Skill Issue with the fastest lap of a 1:37.4. Charles Leclerc is quaking in his boots right now, and something has happened to something. He is 32 seconds down the pack in 17th place, which means Bloodsport has improved the position and is still catching up. He's only a couple of seconds away in the Williams. And at the moment, Panther as well has had a penalty, as now we are seeing 3-second penalties for track limit warnings. I think Panther has gotten lucky because he only has a 5-second penalty, so he can serve that in the pits no problem. And then, as we see all sorts of penalties come on down from race control, we've got side-by-side action with Night Nerd and Polka Petra there. Of course, Polka Petra running out there. Maxette going wide at turn number 11, and here we go, longest straightaway. Well, one of the longest straightaways in Formula 1. The leader remains as it was for the time being, though, so the top three unmoved. Despite the shot, there you go, there's a NASCAR-style race happening down there in the midfield. Look at that, 3-4 wide, down the straight. Lots of overtaking happening here. This is where the action clearly is right now. Let's focus in on this. Altezza has lost touch with the top three, but has made a move on Pink Panther there. Rosso and Burrs going side by side there. Through a turn, you don't always see overtaking happen, but he's got that done. Rosso header low. Leo even is up into 7th position in the Alpine as well. An impressive effort so far from him on the softer compound of tyres. As Saint Skillishu sets another fastest lap. It's a 1:37.237 there. So Saint Skillishu is trying to break that DRS, but Max Martin still within that 1-second gap that he needs in order to stay in touch with the leading group. So at the moment, it is, if we can try and find some calm in the storm, but we don't, as Polka makes a move on Maxette there. So now Maxette losing ground ever so slightly, and now Polka Petra is up into 10th position. So now he has just got Mr. Goat for company. Mr. Goat in the Aston Martin, as he was in Season 4 of the Quantum Racing League. And at the moment, it's, apart from a few track limit penalties, and a retirement early on by Lassa, of course, happening in turns 4, 5, and 6. At the moment, it seems to be all clean and sound so far. So good job from the drivers there to keep it clean. We now approach the DRS again and begin to see this open up a little bit. We're going to see some moves. So here you go. Lee Dog is catching up to Pink Panther. And in fact, there you go. Look at that shot. That is impressive to see, as Verse is making a move on Hidalo, locks up, but nearly went into the side of him, but managed to stay out of his way. But he's going to try again, and he nearly again makes contact. He's still there, though, going through the unlikeliest of likeliest places to go side by side. He's unable to make a move, but he's still there, side by side. Great racing from these two to keep it clean, and more importantly, not damage each other's car. Here we go again. He's going to try down there. No, he doesn't. He eventually backs off and lives to fight another day, but that was interesting. There's a spin in the background. Polka Petri, I don't know what happened there. I think he just got desperate with his right foot there and just lost it, and that brings him down to 16th position there. So the Alpine driver suffering badly there, but now Mr. Goat has made a position on Pink Panther. He is up into 8th, but Pink Panther not giving this up just yet. We're only on lap 5, and already we have seen action up and down the grid. I just want to say as well, we saw Hockey Adam take the fastest lap there in 3rd position. And now, so now he is only 6 tenths behind Max Martin there in 2nd. But at the moment, Max Martin now losing touch with the DRS. Did he get to the activation line just before he lost a second? Yes, he did. So his DRS remains open for the time being. Now we have a caution in Sector 2. Who is that? That is Polka Petra again. Has he got damage to the aero of the car? He's lost it out a couple of sections now. I don't think the tyres would be an issue, especially considering he's on the mediums. But at the moment, a mystery for him as it stands right now. And there you go. So Panther as well. We were just witnessing an overtake on the Night Nerd there, who had the DRS open and found it very academic. So now we're seeing Big Sauce and Antony. I can't remember what your name was. I'm so sorry. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. I will probably just need a reminder, and I'll make a note of it after the race. So I do apologize to the Red Bull driver there. He did tell me, and unfortunately I can't remember, so I do apologize to him tenfold there. But he looks to be trying to hang on to 11th position so that he has a chance on Maxette here in 10th position. Of course, then he'll be in the top 10. But of course, He's got a ways to go yet. Now we have a caution in sector 3 again for Polka Petre there. Even something is beginning to catch up. So I think Polka Petre has got damage to the car. But as in terms of what, I'm not too sure. Is he going to come into the pits just to see if he can repair it? Yes, he does. He's just coming into the pits. And 10-second penalty for Polka Petre for corner cutting. And then an additional 5 seconds. And he retires from the session. I don't blame him one bit there. That was a bunch of penalties adding up into one super penalty, and it looks like he'd had enough for one day. So unfortunately for him, he will be our second DNF. So what was 18 now becomes 16, and unfortunately we've had another spin down at turn number 11. That is Lee Dog in the Red Bull. So now the two Red Bulls are going to be fighting for position here. This could end ugly. We are seeing a move down the inside of Vers from Mr. Goat, and he gets that done just before the corner. Will Vers fight it like he did with Rosso? No, he doesn't. He has to concede the position for the time being, but excellent stuff happening up and down the grid. And guess what? Keeping an eye on your top three, it's Max Martin losing second position and Saint Skillishu running away with things as we have another yellow flag in sector 1. But of course, that's Polka Petra's car, so that's evidently been parked up. No safety car for that will be required. But at the moment, Max Martin really suffering here. Altezza as well, just in a race of his own, trying to catch up to the top 3, but hasn't been successful. So he's got a lot of work to do. We are now on lap 7 out of 56. So now we begin to look at the strategy call. Rosso, though, is definitely a big winner, as we're now seeing side-by-side action between Big Sauce and Lee Dog. Two great names there doing battle into turn 1. It is Big Sauce that wins out in the end and has got the move done. There's contact, though, between him and the Red Bull. Very slight contact, though, so nothing will be looked into further from that. But that was certainly something else. Panther has left the session. Has he disconnected? It looks like he's had a connection issue there. His car is completely ghosted to allow the other drivers through. And that means Bloodsport as well, who's kind of been trying to catch up to all of this, had something happen at the start-finish line when we were beginning to get the grid underway, has now started to recover rather epically, if I say so myself. He is now on the back of Night Nerd. Night Nerd got no DRS, though, so we'll keep an eye on this as it stands. Go on board with the Williams driver here. He's not close enough to have a go down into turn number 12, but at the moment, he is definitely getting closer and closer to the pack. He could usefully use Night Nerd to get into the DRS of the Red Bull of Lee Dog ahead. And try and at least make an impact and help him catch up to the pack. However, Bloodsport, though, doing a good job of his own, recovering up the field as it stands. Now, focusing on the leading battle, Max Martin and Hockey Adam are not gaining on Saint Skillishu at the moment. Saint Skillishu has been able to get that gap up, but then as soon as I say that, we have a battle between Mr. Goat and Vers that lasted very briefly. That was Vers defending from Mr. Goat there, and that means he keeps 6th position and will likely try and have another go at Rosso into turn 1. No, but Mr. Goat makes an error there, and that allows the momentum of Maxette in the AlphaTauri to try and get through, but they're going to go side by side into turns 4, 5, and 6, and they get that done. We don't have the best camera angle for that, and in the end, he slots in. It was rather at the back of your frame there, so I hope you were able to see that. But in terms of the battle, that Mr. Goat will hold off for 7th position for the time being as we continue through the lap. But he'll surely be under pressure again as we approach turn number 11. He'll need to just stay within the DRS of Vers. He's done that successfully for the time being. In fact, Mr. Goat has gone a little wide again, missing the apex of the corner there. Even if it was just very slightly. There you go. You're in the middle of your shot now. You can see Maxette and Mr. Goat. Mr. Goat has the DRS crucially, but will it be enough? That AlphaTauri, don't forget, has the slipstream as well. Will he attempt something into turn number 12? No, but Vers has decided to have a go at Rosso and gets it done, locking the tyres in the process. So that won't help his tyre life. But at the same time, he gets the position, but he's a bit squirrely out of the turn there. And that leaves him vulnerable to the drivers behind. But Mr. Goat tries the outside in an unlikely place. Again, we've seen a few drivers do that, and it worked out well. But as it stands, it seems that Mr. Goat has had to hold position for the time being, as well as Rosso. He'll be annoyed that he's lost that 5th position, and he'll be trying to get that back. But as it stands, there you go. You're seeing brief amounts of contact as well basically Mr. Goat pushing Rosso through the corner. Now, Verse has got no DRS, so he'll be vulnerable to the drivers behind. Mr. Goat looking, though, to get the inside and gets it done. That is 6th position, and Antoni as well has got that done. Rosso now side by side with Maxette. That's allowed Maxette into this mix as well. Lots of battles happening. It's difficult to know where to look. This is amazing stuff from the Quantum Racing League. Great work from all the drivers to keep it clean. And there you go again. Maxette side by side with Rosso through turns 4, 5 and 6, which unfortunately earns him a 3-second time penalty for track limit warnings. Let's check on the penalties as it stands. The only person on 6 seconds right now is Lead Dog there. So he's had 2 violations for track limits, as we see. I think that is Big Sauce go very wide there. No, it wasn't. I think it was Maxette. Actually, I don't know. I'm not too sure. I'm going to say it was Big Sauce, but at the moment that would make sense because Big Sauce has become vulnerable to Pink Panther. And now we're going 4 wide, 3 wide into one corner. You can't be serious. Look up, and there's a bit of contact there. Pink Panther getting a bit of a tail slap there. And now Leeduk is vulnerable. Of course, he has a 6-second penalty. So unfortunately, this battling is nil and void for him. He will have to hope for a miracle to try and get his way further up the grid. But as it stands at there, oh no, the Red Bull has gone, and someone else has gone. It's Pink Panther into the ball, and it brings out a safety car for him. So now that means Panther has free reign to get rid of his 5-second penalty, and the racing is eliminated. Saint Skill Issue has lost his lead that he built up. So now that is nil and void, and that means Hockey Adam will be right on the back of him coming in. Well, when they go racing again, I imagine this will take a few laps to sort out. But my word, great stuff from everybody. And there's a few drivers pitting already. Looks like most are taking the medium tyres now and getting off their softs. But Big Sauce there with a great, well, I say a great strategy. We'll see how this pays off. Is going on to the harder compound of tyres. And guess what as well, chat? The track is looking very dark right now. And darker than most. I thought I could see spits of rain, but nothing reported so far. So it looks like the rain is holding off for the time being, but of course we will wait and see how long that loads. I thought I saw a spot of rain there. I think the game is messing with me, so at the moment let's go through how the race has unfolded. Mr. Dong 101, thank you for the follow. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast so far, and I hope it hasn't been too messy for you. But let's check on the position changes so far throughout the grid. So, in first, and of course, he'll be happy with this, Saint Skill Issue in first position there, gaining a position on second. Hockey Adam as well up into second. He is up from third. But Max Martin, your pole position sitter, has unfortunately lost out on his race pace so far. Alteza as well up into fourth position, 3 positions. But Mr. Goat, it's Matt. Oh, hi Matt, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Mr. Goat up 9 positions from 16th position. Impressive stuff from him. Ver's up 4 positions, but of course has a 3-second penalty to serve. And then Maxette down 2 positions from 5th, and we're seeing more pit stops from Mr. Goat and Ver's. So I wonder if they'll lose positions. Probably not. The gap is about 18 seconds, so under safety car, that is about how long it would take to make a pit stop. So the top 7 should be okay. Saint Skill Issue will obviously come out in first. Hockey Adam in second, and then Max Martin in third. Fourth is Alteza, and then Mr. Goat, I think, will just hold position. There you go. There's Rosso coming out now. Now I wonder who has timed their pit stops correctly here. It seems like we'll see Verse come out in 6th, but I think Maxette is in even more trouble. Yes, he is. So coming to the safety car line now, Maxette loses a position. Oh, no, and his race goes from bad to worse. So now that means what was 2 loses 3 positions. That is going to sink his heart there, unfortunately. And I believe we are starting to see rain, or I'm imagining things here, because at the moment we're on lap 11 of 56, and of course if you've just done your pit stop, that's not going to be a welcome sight. So at the moment it seems like Saint Skill Issue wants to go longer. Now he's going to be vulnerable to the soft runners behind him, which are of Max Martin, Alteza and Hockey Adam. Not necessarily in that order, but at the moment Saint Skill Issue is playing the long game on this one, so it'll be interesting to see when he next pits, I imagine he's looking to make a 2-stop race out of it. Everybody has now pitted, as you can see, apart from Panther, interestingly. He had free reign to do so under the safety car, but has kind of let that go to race. This also means that Bloodsport has a lifeline, despite the 3-second penalty for track limits. So let's just check on those as well. So at the moment, 5-second penalty for Panther still. He's 5 seconds down, and I think he disconnected as well. So that means he's had yet more connection issues. But he's currently back in the session, and now he's caught up to the back of the pack. We'll just be waiting for something to catch up at some point. Pink Panther now joining the back of the pack. Of course, he was the one that caused the safety car due to losing his front wing into the barrier. Of course, we are approaching on that section right now. In fact, here we are. Of course, the barrier to the right is what took his front wing, so he'll be more careful going forward, I am sure. He's on the harder compound of tyres and is looking to make a few positions. We'll, of course, keep an eye on him. Now, race control haven't called in the safety car this lap, so this means that we will be going racing next lap, I would imagine. All debris has been cleared up from the incident. Drivers have made their pit stops, apart from Panther, of course, who is now going to serve his 5-second penalty. Locks up the tyres coming into the pits. Am I just a spectator or are you playing? Even better, Matt, I'm spectating and commentating on the race. This is a racing league called Quantum Racing League, and I asked to be a commentator, and they've happily let me, so I say thank you to them for allowing me to do so. It's something I really enjoy. So, at the moment, I am just a spectator while I watch other people race. It's great fun so far. We've had good racing up and down the pack, and I hope you stick it out and join us for the rest of the broadcast. It is great fun, this league. Great fun. But at the moment, we will go on board with Saint Skill Issue for my iconic look behind and transfer the audio to his car when we are ready. So Saint Skill Issue has got a job ahead of him. He has got to get those hard compounds into the operating temperature and then try and hold off. But those soft runners won't have a problem, and of course the track will surely be slightly cold due to the overcast conditions currently set round Kota. Of course, we haven't seen the rain just yet, but it can't be far off. Thank you very much, Mr. Dong. At the moment, we've got Hockey Adam, who will surely be looking to pounce on the leader when we go underway again. Race control still haven't made the call, and I think Saint Skill Issue knows the job he has. He's trying to create a gap to try and warm up those tyres. So I imagine he'll be using a mixture of braking and tyre weaving to keep those tyres warm, as safety car is in this lap. So now we transfer to Saint Skill Issue, and we will look behind where we have a very iconic number on his car. That's good to see there. No guesses as to what that number could be. Very iconic, that's all I'll say. So at the moment, it is now, so Saint Skill Issue has to wait for the safety car to go into the pits, give it enough time to clear away from the racing line, and then we'll go racing again. It was up to Saint Skill Issue to see when he goes. I will say as well, there is a big gap to the top 4, and there you go, that's being closed down. Safety car in the pits, it's up to Saint Skill Issue. And he goes, and guess what? Has caught a few drivers napping as well. Mr. Goat was able to make a move on Alteza there. So now Mr. Goat continues his excellent recovery drive. And now he's looking to defend the inside. Alteza trying to get his position back. And now Cocky Adam has been forced wide. Now Mr. Goat is contending for a podium position. I thought we were going to go 3 wide there. That would have been interesting to see. But Mr. Goat holding Alteza off at the moment. Alteza is saying, no, I want my position back. But no, Mr. Goat denies him of the opportunity. We have Pink Panther has left the session. Safety car deployed again. And I think Pink Panther had another moment there. So that means what was 18 now becomes 15. 3 cars will not finish the race. Now we have another safety car period for, of course, cleaning up the debris. And my word, Pink Panther is not going to be happy at all. That is gonna really hurt. That is lap number 13 out of 56, and we've had another collision, unfortunately, due to the conditions, but Saint Skill Issue was able to hold off a charging Max Martin there. I think if we'd have gone on any longer, I think Max Martin would have had the leading position by the time we got round to this section. Dude, love how realistic this game looks. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you very much. I've tried my best, but Max Martin actually given the position back. Max Martin has given the position back, so I wonder if he overtook just after the safety car came out. But either way, he's given it back for some reason. But then again, oh wait, are we still racing? No, we're not racing at all, because safety car is out, and that's confirmed by the graphic on the top left, obviously. So I'm not sure why he gave that back. I don't think he needed to. Interesting there. So obviously he felt it was best for some reason to give the position back, for whatever reason that was. Now, it could have been that somebody contacted him from the steward's office and said, look, you forced him wide there, please give the position back. And that's what he's gone and done. So in the end, we'll kind of be back to as it was with the top three. But Mr. Goat there, charging through the pack. He is now up, I believe, several positions. In fact, 10 of them. So we definitely, Mr. Goat in contention for my driver of the day at the very least. I don't know what you think, chat, but Mr. Goat putting on a good race of things so far, and definitely a standout driver here in the terms of Mr. Goat there, doing Aston Martin very proud. He's not got a teammate company, so he's very much doing this all on his own, but he's doing a very good job so far. Now, of course, when we come back to you next week, which I will be around for, we'll be in Saudi Arabia, so I wonder if Saint Skill Issue and, well, Max Martin and Hockey Adam alike will be able to hold it, because, of course, in this 100% season, just so everyone knows, we don't follow the Formula 1 qualifying session structure. We only do a one-shot session, so it's just like the average time of a normal league race weekend. I hate F1 or V8s, but if David is on commentary, I'm here for it. Aw, thank you. That's very kind of you to say, Mr. Bell. Thank you so much, Matt. I hope you're having a good day. I won't divert the conversation for now, but like I was playing some. No, in fact, actually, no. I'll save that conversation for later, just because of what we're focusing on right now. But at the moment, Alteza, who was of course one of your championship contenders in season 4, at the moment, Lou has not been able to make the ground I thought he'd be able to make up on Saint Skill Issue, but he's definitely there in the top 5. Now, losing out to Mr. Goat, he's got to want that 4th position back. Like I said before, he's on the softer compound of tyres, so he won't have any trouble firing them up when we go racing again, which I would imagine would be next lap, I would hope. Because I don't think there's any more debris out on the track, so that would mean that we can go underway at any moment. I think Race Control are just making some checks. Of course, I'm not, that is not simulated in the game. That is just me trying to make something out of something here. But in terms of something, something finally made up a position on track. He was able to overtake Panther, as Panther did have that 5-second penalty earlier in the race. So he's finally up one position from 15th to 14th. So we'll keep an eye on him to see if he can go any higher. And Bloodsport as well, of course, having that funny issue on the grid there in 13th. So has made up a few positions, of course, thanks to cars not finishing around him as well. That's really helped him as well as these safety car periods. No call from Race Control at the moment if we're going to go racing again. Next lap, of course, will be underway again. Lap 16 out of 56. But we will take it from there. So, Saint Skill Issue will be getting us underway again, and like I stated last time, those harder compound of tyres in these conditions will be really hard to get warm, so he'll definitely be under pressure from Max Martin and Hockey Adam again, so he's going to have a real hard time of it trying to get away, as will Mr. Goat. But then again, I said that last time, and Mr. Goat fired up the field like there was no tomorrow. Big Sauce will also be vulnerable, but anybody on the mediums or softer compound of tyres shouldn't have too much issue warming up these tyres. And I think Mr. Goat heard me in the commentary box here, because he just did some weaving there on the straight. And at the moment, always good day. Oh, okay. What are some of your favorite memories, if you have any, from the Aussie Grand Prix? When was the last time you attended? But then as soon as we say that, safety car will now be in, and Saint Skillishu has a job on his hands. I hope he's got those hard tires warmed up to their peak temperature, because otherwise it will take about 2 or 3 laps for that to work in the operating temperature where he can hold off Hockey Adam and Max Martin. But Mr. Goat, keep an eye on him, was very racy at the start, so he will definitely be looking to make a couple of positions to try and get into the podium. So here we go, Saint Skillishu, it's up to you. He goes away earlier than last time, and I think that's what he needed to do, because if he waited, I think Hockey Adam would have been on that like no tomorrow. But at the moment, everybody holds position for the time being. We approach the start-finish line to begin lap 16, and here we go. I think Saint Skillishu is vulnerable here. Remember, we don't have DRS for another 2 laps because we've restarted the race. But at the moment, Hockey Adam is the closest he's ever been to the lead, but Mr. Goat losing ground as well. So unfortunately, hasn't been able to get racy like he did last time. He's got a bit of work to do, but the top 3 remain as they were when we started. And look at that. The top 3 are nose to tail at the moment. Surely someone will budge. Max Martin, their fastest in Sector 1 there. So he's definitely on a charge and is looking for revenge for the fact he lost first position. But here we go. Hockey Adam is making a move at turn number 11. Can he get that done? Yes, he does. He's now in the lead, and Saint Skillishu will surely be vulnerable to Max Martin behind. There you go. It's like NASCAR all of a sudden. This isn't Formula 1 down this straight. It's all different, and Max Martin now up into second. Will he have a go on Hockey Adam? He doesn't, but now Saint Skillishu loses 2 positions. Alteza gets his 4th position back from Mr. Goat. So unfortunately, Mr. Goat didn't quite fire up those harder compound of tyres as quickly as he would have wanted, and has lost a position for it. And the same with Saint Skillishu. So the track definitely is not in the optimal conditions for the hard tyres at this current moment in time of the race. But Max Martin isn't too worried about that. They are now starting to increase the gap to Saint Skillishu. And now Max Martin is looking racy yet again behind Hockey Adam. So Hockey Adam sets the fastest lap as of right now, 1:36.336. Only 2 tenths away from Charles Leclerc's record, which was set here in 2019. And now Alteza has the DRS as well. If he can remain within this window, and if Saint Skillishu can still remain within DRS, Alteza will be carried to the podium. So now all of a sudden, it remains vital that Saint Skillishu holds out for the DRS here while he's warming up those hards. They should be up to temperature by now, considering how twisty this circuit is. But at the moment, he seems to be losing touch with the 2 runners up ahead of Max Martin and Hockey Adam. So here we go. Max Martin will, of course, just have the slipstream. No DRS as of right now because we've not got to the right amount of laps. But Saint Skillishu will at least have another half a lap to try and bring down that 1 second gap. But Alteza is getting closer and closer the longer this goes on. And Max Martin is only 3 tenths behind him, you know. He might have a look. He doesn't think of doing so in the end. And just opts to stay in second, but he knows he's got the pace, so he's just biding his time, I should say. And Night Nerd and Bloodsport for 12th and 13th have gone side by side. Bloodsport now making another position, so his recovery drive continues. We'll focus back to the leader here. Half a second between them, nothing to separate them. Saint Skillishu continues to struggle on those harder compound of tyres. Of course, he knows this would have been happening, so I think he accepted his fate. Just to try and get more time, have the tyre advantage at the end of the Grand Prix. DRS is now enabled, so that means Max Martin won't have it on this straight, but once we get to turn number 11, Hockey Adam is going to be vulnerable. Let's keep an eye on this, coming through turns 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Of course, this place inspired, this part of the track, I should say, inspired by Maggots and Beckett's from Silverstone. Of course, a great track in its own right. Of course, I commentated on that track on Wednesday for KLR, but no, Hockey Adam, 3-second penalty for track limits. Unfortunately, Max Martin, while he would love to get it done on track, doesn't really need to. As long as he can keep it between the white lines, Hockey Adam is vulnerable regardless. So here we go. How hard will Hockey Adam fight this? Max Martin now has the DRS. You see that rear wing open. He's got the drag reduction system. He looks to the inside, and Hockey Adam doesn't fight that too hard at all. He just lets him through and decides to live to fight another day. Max Martin, now your official leader of the Grand Prix, and now we are seeing positions exchange yet again, and that is for 12th, 11th, and 13th and 14th. Blood's Big Sauce. No, that's Bloodsport, I apologize. Now up into 12th position, so he's still making moves as it stands, and now we're seeing battles in the midfield. That's Vaz. He's made a mistake at turn number 15 there, and unfortunately for him, this has left him vulnerable to one of the Red Bulls. That's Antoni, I do believe. I think I'm saying that wrong as well. So, you hate racing, you can still have a good day. 2021, Astra's always into races. I just love the vibes. Ah, I see. Okay, thank you for telling us that, Matt. I didn't know you went to that. I'm kind of jealous of you. But anyway, Mr. Goat has lost touch with that top four. Alteza is now right on the heels of Saint Skillishu. But at the moment, we're going to concentrate on Vaz, who is now starting to make a position and gets another 3-second penalty for track limits. So now his penalties have increased up to 6 seconds. I will come to the driver's defense here. It is really hard to keep the car between the white lines in these video games. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you as to why and give you a technical answer, but unfortunately, it's just really hard to keep it within track limits. I don't understand it myself. But anyway, we're going to keep an eye on the battle for third, because Alteza is looking the closest he's ever looked to a podium position so far in this race. Here we go. He's deploying the battery. He's got the DRS open. Saint Skillishu can do nothing but hope that the deploy is enough, as we see Hockey Adam retake the lead there. And there you go. Alteza has got that done just before the turn. And there's contact between him and the heart of Saint Skillishu. No damage as of right now, but Alteza did lock his tyres. So at the moment, he has got the position, but won't help his tyre life at all compared to those hard runners. Saint Skillishu just looking after his tyres. Now, if we cut back, Maxette has made a position on Mr. Goat, so Mr. Goat losing out here. Now, I just kind of want to explain why a driver might have taken the hards when it wasn't advantageous to do so, when others have taken the softs. What you do by taking the hards this early into the race is that you want the tyre advantage at the end. So what you'll possibly do is go long on these sets of tyres, the hardest compound, of course. It's in the name, really. Lasts the longest, but doesn't give you the best pace. And what Hockey Adam, what Saint Skillishu and Mr. Goat will want to do is try and hang on to these for a medium or softer compound. So you go longer while you're going slower, but you'll make up the time at the end of the race. So that's why they're doing that. They want to make up the time at the end of the race. I believe you will have just got a warning for track limits there. Mr. Goat definitely cutting the white lines, if I say so myself. As we see a beautiful calendar, as we see Big Sauce get a 3-second penalty now. So his penalty total has just begun at 3 seconds. Like I said, it's just hard to keep it between the white lines. Can't explain it very well, but Panther is now trying to make a move on Night Nerd. So now Night Nerd will be demoted into the race for not last. And unfortunately, Night Nerd is now in last. As now we're seeing Rosso make up a position on Mr. Goat as well, down the straightaway. Of course, that'll be thanks to DRS. But now Vaz, well, with a bit of a lock-up there into turn number 12. We've seen a few drivers do that already. But at the moment, no huge drama to speak of there. So it all remains as it was. Now the two Red Bulls are fighting with each other. Now they both have track limit penalties. Lead Dog might just be best sitting behind him here. Of course, as you can see on the tower there, to your left there, the timing tower, that is. 6-second penalty for him, so that means that to play the team game with Antoni here, he would need to really just hold it off for the time being for now, Lead Dog, and just maybe help his teammate by holding off the pack behind, who of course have caught up. So Bloodsport has caught up. He's currently in the one hell of a recovery drive and has done a good job thus far. Despite only making up 3 positions, he just needs to get to that pack. So we have a Maxette has had a spin out of turn number 1 near turn number 2, and that demotes him into last. So Maxette has a moment. We have a yellow flag for sector 1. Nothing, of course, will happen from that as we can see continues racing, but that means Maxette has got it all to do. So from 7th position, He is now down in last, losing 8 positions. That is not going to be good for him. He's going to hate that. So a lot of drivers, I will say as well, have been making mistakes, as now we're going to see a swap for the lead again. Max Martin and Hockey Adam definitely swapping positions there, as Alteza has now made a move again on Saint Skill Issue there. So Saint Skill Issue got back past him. Bloodsport has made a move on his teammate Big Sauce there. 2 great names of motorsport here. And has made the move up into 10th. So his recovery drive continues to go. His teammate helping him out as Saint Skill Issue. We've seen an error from Alteza though. Alteza has spun yet again. A lot of drivers getting this wrong. And I think there's been a concertina effect. And now Bloodsport will benefit from that as well. Bloodsport recovering another position there. He's having a great drive in this first half of the race so far. Great recovery from him. And Alteza loses another position. My word, Alteza is struggling and has had to come into the pits, so he's definitely got damage or something to the car. Bloodsport as well has made up another position thanks to pit stops. So who's in the pits? It's Lee Dog and Alteza. So I think Lee Dog has had enough of those softer compound of tyres and decides to go into the hard compound. Let's keep an eye on Alteza here. Doesn't look to have had anything bad happen. I didn't see any parts get replaced, so unfortunately for him, it must have just been a tyre wear issue at the moment, and he's just kind of continuing on. But look at what happens to the lead pack. Look what's happened here. You can see they've shared the DRS between each other, and look at the gap they've built out to Saint Skill Issue there. 4.4 seconds. So now Hockey Adam is securing that second place by getting the gap, by using the DRS. And of course, they're sharing the lead. So that means they are essentially working together to try and build it out. So right now, Saint Skill Issue is just in a race of his own. There's nothing he can really do. Those harder compound of tyres, doesn't matter what you do, it won't work when you're sharing DRS like that. Of course, with big long straightaways like this, doesn't matter what you do, you just lose out on top line, straight line speed even. And then all of a sudden, you lose time, and you're like, where's the time? Why can't I earn it in the corners? It's because once you get to the straight line speed, it all evens out. So unfortunately for Saint Skill Issue, he's got quite a Herculean effort. He needs a safety car to try and bring him back into this race. He won't be enjoying life in third position, a very lonely third position as it stands. Of course, he was in second place at the start of this race, now down in third. But at the moment, we will keep an eye on this fight for the top 10, because Bloodsport, who's had an awful start as Big Sauce and Panther go side by side into turn 1. Hello, Anno, by the way. As we have a bot post into the chat there. Big Sauce loses out to Panther there, so that means 9th position. 5-second penalty all as well for Lido for speeding in the pit lane. He retires from the session, and Alteza as well into the pits again. So what's happened to Alteza here? So what was 15 now becomes 14. I think there's a front wing replacement happening. Yes, there is. Or at least I thought there was. Definitely saw adjustments being made to the front wing there. So I think he had damage to the front wing on that one. But either way, Lee Dog has now retired and won't take any further part in the Grand Prix. Mr. Goat, though, will be happy with everything that's happening around him. He is back into that coveted 5th position that he really enjoys. We're seeing Rosso make a lock-up here. And at the moment, it seems to be quite a troublesome goal. I love F1 games because Haas can run in the podium spots and potentially win. Saint Skill Issue was actually in the lead of this race earlier on, but due to being on the harder compound of tyres, unfortunately, he lost out on that and now finds himself sitting in 3rd position. So unfortunately for him, he's still got a lot of work to do. But as soon as I talked about that DRS, it seems like he's been able to negate that disadvantage that he has, because he's now brought the gap down to 3.7 seconds. So it's clearly Alteza that was causing up a hold-up for him, and he wasn't able to extract the pace of the car fully. But now that is free of Alteza and has got a clear track and, of course, well, a clear area around the car, for lack of a better word. He is now bringing down the gap, 3.8 seconds as it stands. But now we're seeing Antoni on the Red Bull fight reverse there and gets it done. Nice job there from Antoni there. Not bad at all. And now he will be on the back of Mr. Goat. And of course, Rosso and Mr. Goat both have penalties. And Antoni has just done a good job to keep it between the white lines. So again, another contention for driver of the day here. Now, at the moment, as it stands, with position changes, Mr. Go and Antony doing a great job as Hockey Adam, of course, Max Smarten swap positions again, as we were just seeing there. Antony and Mr. Goat both doing a great job of moving up the pack. They're both up 9 positions, and of course, Antony would love to make it 10 positions for an improvement, but at the moment still has the cars behind to worry about and the cars in front of him, as Vers was really close to making a move there. Although it's nil and void, Vers still looking racy and trying to fight despite the 3-second penalty. He's just got to wait for the pit stop, so I imagine we will see more pit stops happen. And look at that, Saint Skillishu bringing the gap to the top 2 down to 3 seconds. So Saint Skillishu is not out of this one just yet. Even in the Haas, he's doing an impressive drive, so we'll see that battle come alive again. And when we get round to it, we will cut back to it. But at the moment, this is where the action is right now, is something with another 3-second penalty for track limit violations. Oh no, in fact, that's his first. So at the moment, something now has a 3-second penalty, and that will mean for the runners behind, that might be of some good news to them, as Alteza has had a miserable race as of right now. Down in 14th, he had one mistake, and unfortunately he had to make 2 pit stops because he also had damage to his front wing. I didn't see what happened, but unfortunately for him, this means that he is wallowing, literally down in 14th position. So I believe he's trying to make the one-stop work on the harder compound of tyres and trying to recover as many positions as he possibly can. But at the moment, Saint Skillishu not giving up on this fight for the lead right now. He is bringing that gap down every single lap. So that is not over as of right now. Antony will be feeling good about this, though. He is on the back of Mr. Goat and trying to make up some more positions. He's, of course, worrying about Vers. Vers looking very racy in his own right, as we see a major lockup. I believe that was Rosso there in the Alpine. Everything, of course, it seems to be, 56 laps. Damn, yeah, I know, right? It's a 100% race. We do a one-shot qualifying, so that's why we are halfway through the race as it stands right now. So it's like an average, it works out to about an average league race weekend. But of course, we have the 100% distance there, as Night Nerd now making a move on something. And Night Nerd now improving a position. Of course, he was wallowing in last earlier on, but will at least be happy to get up into 11th position. So he's doing the best he can with what he's got around him. Of course, Panther, who had a 5-second penalty earlier in the race, still there in 9th and no penalties at all. Batman has joined, but I do believe Russell in Alpine. That's a good joke if I've heard one. But here we go. Let's focus on Bloodsport, who is, of course, making his way up the grid. But look at that. The sun is out, so that means the track will be getting hotter. So any tyre strategies might be affected because of the track heating up now. So at the moment, we might see maybe a 3-stop strategy come into play, because as soon as the tyres warm up, the tyres essentially begin to melt. And of course, the compound where you get the friction and the grip from, it all begins to wear away until it's a big ball of nothing, essentially. So at the moment, they're going to have to keep an eye on the track temperature there, see if they can keep the tyres within their operating window. But at the moment, Bloodsport making another position on the McLaren of Vers there, but just got a bit of a tank slap going out of turn number 12, but able to hold Vers off, and has made up another position. He'll be happy with this so far. Bloodsport from last to 7th so far, as Fat Cat Batman now leaves the session, so I don't quite know what he was in here for, but it's none of my business at the same time. So let's continue on with the battles we are seeing. Antony just kind of holding his own there in 6th position, but Bloodsport looking very quick. So Bloodsport will be looking to dispose as Antony, we were just singing his praises, gets a 3-second penalty for track limits with 30 laps to go. And at the moment, now he's on an even keel with the drivers around him, of course. So it really, like, not only is this a game of test of how long can you go on your tires, how long can you keep your car between the white lines as well. It's kind of a test of multiple things. Let's see, I did a 2-hour with OTLEC. Okay, a different conversation happening in chat there. But at the moment, Panther is the only one in this battle who doesn't have a penalty. At the moment, he is in ninth, but if he keeps it between the white lines, he will definitely improve up several positions at the end of the race. So Panther looking good to be driver of the day just by keeping it between the white lines here. He'll be happy with everything happening around him, but at the moment everybody else under pressure, and they could be down one by the end of the race. Antony there looking like he was going to make a move on Mr. Goat, but ultimately it was all nil and void. He wasn't close enough going into turn number 12. But unfortunately for him, well, I'd say unfortunately for him, a 3-second penalty, which means he is basically on an even keel with all the drivers around him, as we've already explained. So not much movement happening right now. Saint Skill Issue has brought that gap to the top 2 to 1.4 seconds. So Saint Skill Issue has got on with the job since losing out to the top 2. And those hard compounds, I imagine, are now in their operating window compared to the softer compound. 17 laps, as impressive as that is to go for that long. Unfortunately, those soft compounds are surely screaming at their drivers, saying, please get off and change onto new ones. We have 29 laps to go, so we'll surely see another pit stop from the soft medium runners. Alteza, I think, has made another stop in all of this as well. He's currently on 4-lap old hard, so Alteza trying to go to the end there. In 14th, unfortunately for him, miserable race, as I've stated already. But Saint Skillshoot is bringing that gap down all the time, and Max Martin is, well, not losing touch to Hockey Adam, but definitely is struggling now to try and use the DRS to his benefit. Has to slot behind Hockey Adam for the time being, but while they're going through the corners, it seems now that Saint Skillshoot is able to swing the pendulum to his way, because now that the tyres have gone through the best on the softs, the hards are just getting into their own. And now look at that, just through the corners, you saw how the gap went down by about 0.2 there. Now make that 0.3, because now it's 1.5 seconds, and surely will be 1.4 when we come to the line for the next lap, which will be 29 out of 56. So then it'll be 28 laps to go once this is all over for this lap. So Saint Skillshoot not out of this one just yet. In fact, it's 1.3 seconds. So there you go. That gap coming down all the time. Make that 1.2 seconds. My word. Saint Skillshoot wasting no time at all. And he'll surely be in within the DRS when we come to turn number 11. Next up, as Something gets another 3-second time penalty. So that means he gets a 6-second penalty. Vers as well in trouble with a 6-second penalty as well for 2 track limit violations. But Saint Skillshoot and Max Martin, Night Nerd and Panther are the only drivers to not have penalties right now. Of course, Panther did have a 5-second penalty earlier on, which I believe was for jumping the start, but has since served that penalty and has served that 5 seconds. So he, at the moment, has no penalty to his name. But now, I thought it was going to be within DRS during this section, but no, Saint Skillshoot unable to catch up as of right now, but surely it's only a limited amount of time now, as Max Martin is finally close enough to make a move. But of course, they're just trying to hold off the inevitable, really, to Saint Skillshoot. At the moment, this is the closest battle on track between the top 3, and this is where the interest is building up, because Saint Skillshoot has done a mega job to bring down that gap without the DRS and just rely on sheer pace alone. He's lost a couple of tenths this lap, though. The gap hasn't come down to where he would like. 1.3 going out of turn number 15, coming into 16, 17 and 18. Believe it or not, that long right-hander is considered 3 corners, whether you like that or not. But at the moment, 18 laps on those hards. Compared to the softs, those hards will be much fresher than the softs. And look at that, 1.1 seconds, while 1.2 on the straightaway. But it's definitely going to not remain like this, as Hockey Adam and Max Martin swap position again and actually nearly go side by side into turn 1, but they know it's pointless. Look at how much that gap has been brought down, and now he is not too far away from the DRS. Surely, as long as he gets a good run through here, it'll be all said and done. But Something has retired from the session. I thought he'd crashed or something, but after that penalty, he's clearly had enough. So what is 14 will now become 13 in good time. Something, unfortunately, has rage quit from the session. Who was retired? Something retired. Oh, come on with the jokes. God damn it. Anyway, look at that. Saint Skillshoot now under a second to the top 2, but he didn't get there within the DRS activation zone. So now it's just a question of when, because now he's looking very good through sectors 2 and 3. The slight lockup of the front left there on St. Sclishy, but that'll be of little concern to him. He is right there with the top 2. A great drive from him. And now under a second as Antony now makes a move on Mr. Goat for 5th position. So there you go. That finally changes around for him. And he'll be happy with that as Alteza gets a 3-second penalty. So now it is only 3 drivers with no penalties on the track right now. We'll cut back to the top 3 for the time being. But misery for Alteza as his race is compounded to misery. I would say my please go well. With so busy yourself with time management. Okay, thank you very much, Sido. Are you trying to get into this league? Is that your CV to the league? Because I can talk to somebody if you'd like. But anyway, Saint Skill Issue now half a second, so that means he will have had DRS down the start finish straight. We have 26 laps to go, so now we are in the average distance for a 50% race. So now we're in familiar territory. Oh no, we're talking about the skill issues. Ah, okay. Okay, gotcha. But now, so the driver's mindsets will surely begin to shift to thinking, well, I'm now in the fuel range of a league race. So now I can start doing what I'd usually do and just execute the strategy. So we might see drivers begin to space out a little bit. And now Hockey Adam trying to create a gap to St. Skillishu. They overtake and swap for the lead again, but it's all nil and void as Max Martin now has a 3-second penalty for track limits. There was 4 drivers originally, but now only 3 drivers without penalties. So St. Skillishu effectively has the lead of the Grand Prix as it stands right now. Oh, that is gonna really hurt for Max Martin. He's just hoping that skill issue has a track limit skill issue and tries to adjust himself. Tries to get back on an even keel, but Saint Sklisher will surely just make the overtakes and get this done with. Or in fact, Saint Sklisher could just hold position behind them and not need to worry about overtaking and risking damage to the car, as now Panther makes a move on Vers there. We'll cut back to the battle for the top 3, but I imagine drivers are just settling down and just kind of saying, you know what, I'm good where I am. I don't really need to make any sort of desperate lunges. And so we might not see anything too dramatic happen as of right now. The cars are just kind of happy being in their trains as of right now. Keeping an eye on Bloodsport, though. He is currently up into 7th position, but hasn't made any progress as of right now. So it looks like the drivers are just happy to kind of look after the tyres, and I think there'll be one more stop before the end of the Grand Prix. At least for the medium and softer compound of tyres. That much I can guarantee. But in terms of the harder compound of tyres, that's where I don't know how that will play out. Now, we're seeing Bloodsport get ever closer to Mr. Goat here. Of course, he won't be happy with the penalty because that means he'll automatically lose out to Panther should things remain as they are in the Grand Prix. But, oh, dude, congrats on the engagement. Got yourself a good one, mate. Thank you. Thank you, Matt. That's you. But anyway, we've got Bloodsport side by side with Mr. Goat. And at the moment, Mr. Goat holds position for now out of turn number 12. And then going into turn number 13 and 14, they are still side by side. Bloodsport has to give up the position for the time being and try to fight another day. But at the moment, Bloodsport having a go with Mr. Goat there, but it wasn't able to get a move done. Now Panther is being allowed to try and make a move on Bloodsport, but it's all nil and void. And there you go, we have a pit stop. The pit stop window begins, and it's the medium compound of tyre. Rosso pits into the pit lane, and now the pit stop windows will surely be gone, because that means Rosso will have the undercut on all the drivers around him. Night Nerd and Vers also make their pit stops as well. So these are the final pit stops. The pit window has opened on lap 33 with 24 laps to go. We are going to see another round of pit stops. Night Nerd jumps first, but I believe Vers might have had a penalty to serve there. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see what the penalty count is coming out of the pit lane. No, the penalty count remains as it was. So Night Nerd, one of the few drivers without penalties, sharing that with Panther and Saint Skillishu, remains as it was, but Alteza makes a move on Max Set there. So now Alteza is out of last position, as now we see a lockup there on the front left of Saint Skillishu. It's Midnight Sunday for you, so have a good day and enjoy your stream, legends. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here and enjoying the broadcast. But at the moment now, we are going to surely start to see pit stops, and Bloodsport has lost out nearly to the DRS of Mr. Goat there. So Bloodsport having a really bad lap there and hasn't been able to stick with Mr. Goat and is now outside of the DRS as it stands right now. But Bloodsport not giving up on this just yet. He is still hanging on just to that 1 second advantage that he requires to get within the DRS, and unfortunately he's just outside of it. As you saw that white line there, he was outside of it. Come to that DRS activation, well, detection zone. We now approach the activation zone and he doesn't have it, and now he's going to be vulnerable to Panther behind, of course, without a penalty in 7th position. Is Bloodsport in trouble coming into turn 1? No, he's actually got enough straight line speed to hold him off without the DRS, but that is surely only a matter of time before that position is lost for Bloodsport. But can he try and get within the DRS again through turns 3, 4, 5, and 6? Not much ground being made, so I think those tyres have seen their best, because Mr. Go, of course, to note, is on the harder compound of tyres, so again, the harder compound of tyres should be within a better working window. Oh, no! Oh, no! There's been contact! I think with the barrier, with Panther, I think Panther made a mistake because there was no contact with another driver. Panther, I think, just got it wrong and has got a 3-second penalty. Panther, we were praising how you hadn't got a penalty yet, and now it's all undone. He is now in a genuine raceful position with that penalty incurred. That means Night Nerd and Saint Skillishu are the only drivers without a penalty in this race. 23 laps to go, and Panther's excellent drive is undone, and he now has got some genuine work to do to try and make up some positions here. So at the moment in 7th, and now really does need to get a move on and push as hard as he possibly can on old medium tyres as well. So he'll surely be making another pit stop either this or next lap, surely. In fact, somebody has bolted into the pits. It's Mr. Goat on this occasion. So he will now try and cover off Rosso there, who was, of course, in 4th position before the pit stops. He's not done enough. There you go. The undercut proving to be very powerful here. So now Rosso with a fastest lap as well. So there you go. Surely the drivers around need to make a pit stop, as now Saint Skillishu has decided to make moves on Max Martin, but it wasn't able to fruition into anything. Pit stops being made, so positions being exchanged all the time in the midfield. But nothing to report as of right now. So now Night Nerd is the only one without a penalty and will surely make up at least a couple of positions if he's able to stay where he is. In fact, no. Everybody just has a 3-second penalty, and there's Saint Skillishu up into 1st position, 3 wide into turn number 12. You can't be serious. Max Martin forced wide, but Saint Skillishu are still side by side and in with Max Martin. 3 wide. My word, and the Ferrari getting involved in all this as well. Hockey Adam trying to hold position. Are they trying to force Saint Skillishu into an error which gives him a 3-second penalty? I wouldn't be surprised if that's why they're fighting him so hard. I wouldn't blame them in the slightest, to be honest.
Medium left, medium left, medium left. Listen to my calls.
Now you've just reminded me what I need to do. So now, at the moment, we have Max Martin, Hockey Adam, and Saint Skillishu trying to fight for the lead here. Will surely go 3 wide into turn 1. In fact, now we were nearly there, but at the moment, up into 2nd position is Saint Skillishu. And now Max Martin, well, no, not up into 3rd, because Saint Skillishu was there before turn 1. But unfortunately for him, we have caution in sector 3. Who is that for? That is Alteza again, making another error down back into last. So unfortunately for him, probably gone a bit desperate with his right foot. But guess what? The drivers around Rosso have not covered him off. So surely Rosso is in a good position here to make up more positions once drivers make their pit stops. But at the moment, it is as it was, but Rosso having to overtake for this, so they're probably going to make him fight for it, but I don't think those tyres can go on much longer, as Hockey Adam now loses the position for the leads, but now at the moment, it's all being shared around St. Skillishu, trying to genuinely fight for the leads and have a good fight, as it stands right now. 2/10 are all that separates the leads from the first position. Well, sorry, from the lead from third place, I should say. My God, I'm having my own Murrayism race, aren't I? At the moment, and there you go, we see Night Nerd make a position on Vers there, as we saw a lockup for Rosso there, in a position, still trying to catch up to the pack in front, and the pack have now failed to cover him off, so that means Rosso will benefit from pit stop as it stands right now. But we have now got a couple of interesting races happening right now. We've of course got Rosso, who has made the pit stop, as now Panther loses out to Big Sauce, but also Big Sauce is going into the pits, so at the moment he pits from 6th position on the track, and of course Rosso overtakes very easily, so that's one less car to worry about for him. But Big Sauce is surely going to lose out, and I think he's even going to lose out to Night Nerd. He does! Look at how powerful that undercut is! He's lost out big time, and of course I think they were serving a penalty as well, so not only that, in fact no, I don't think they were, that was just the game just being a bit slow there due to the online connection there. But at the moment, so now Big Sauce even, I should say, in a race of his own. And then right now, unfortunately, very lonely 11th position, but right now, that means Mr. Goat could be improving several positions, but we've got Vers in front of him there. We are seeing more fighting for the lead going on here. Of course, St. Skillishu effectively has the lead, as Bloodsport has now improved up a couple of positions himself and is now up into 4th position. So now the recovery drive goes from great to excellent for Bloodsport. He's now up into 4th position, but still has to make a pit stop as Vers and Goat goes side by side into turn number 12, and Goat gets that done. So there we go. That's all said and done, as Max Martin and St. Skillishu now go into the pit lane. I thought they were fighting side by side there, but as it stands right now, they are going into the pits, and now St. Skillishu has not gone into the pits. Sorry about that. That's Max Martin and Hockey Adam here. They are running very close indeed. The top three have ran so close, and now they're coming out side by side and eventually at the same time in the pit lane. Bloodsport up into 2nd. Of course, this won't last due to the fact he has a pit lane. We have 19 laps to go. I don't know where to call it. Big Sauce has got more penalties in that. Williams, of course, he's in a very lonely race, so unfortunately little consequence to him. But Night Nerd now will be looking good once all the pit stops have run their course. Currently in 10th, but will surely be looking to make up some positions there. Max Martin, another 3-second penalty for him. So unfortunately, he will not be in a good position once St. Skillishu makes his stop. Of course, I believe St. Skillishu will be looking to cover a few people off. But at the moment, Rosso has made up great positions there. Look at him up into 5th position and has covered off the entire pack there. So he is in contention for 3rd place as well, because now Hockey Adam has lost out to Rosso. So Rosso has played an excellent strategy and definitely a contender for driver of the day there. Rosso, out of nowhere, has been done. Successful undercut is possible here, and definitely for Rosso in the podium as well. Might be in contention for the lead of the race. You don't know, but of course St. Skillishu yet to make a pit stop. And there you go, St. Skillishu now makes his pit stop, and Bloodsport is going to be approaching the scene with Antony there. But at the moment, Bloodsport and Antony yet to make their pit stops and won't make it right now. But look at that, Rosso is right there as the Ferrari of Panther now makes his pit stop as well. So where does St. Skillishu come out? At the moment, he's just approaching the end of the pit lane. Not fast enough, but there you go. Rosso effectively takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Oh, if he didn't have a penalty, he's in the lead of the Grand Prix. Oh my word, a Big Sauce with the fastest lap of 1:35.689. Charles Leclerc must be shaking in his boots, because that's the lap record broken from 2019, which of course was a 1:36.1. But Rosso there, I'm making contact there with Antony and the Red Bull. So you can see how well new tyres work against old tyres here. Antony holding him off for as long as he possibly can. Here we go. Rosso to the inside of the Red Bull. That was easily done, but Antony is still there. There's contact all over the shop. Max Martin trying to get involved in all of this, but look, Rosso essentially has the lead of the Grand Prix, but Max Martin wants something about this. We're going 3 wide into turn number 12. Look at your picture. That is an amazing sight. Hockey Adam also overtakes Rosso there, nearly locks up into the back of Max Martin, but it's all well and good for the time being. But Antony in those older compounded tires, and look at that, Saint skill issue out of nowhere in the Haas overtakes him up into 5th position. So now, essentially, you're looking at a battle for 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st now. Saint Skillishu without a penalty as Max Martin overtakes Bloodsport there. Bloodsport able to have a bit of pride there and leads the lap of the Grand Prix, but will stay out as well. Is he going to the end on these mediums? With 17 laps to go at the line, this is surely impossible. I will give him driver of the day for that alone if he gets these medium tires to the end. But look, he is being absolutely mugged like a stone to water. Look at how he's overwhelmed by the other drivers around him, and now loses out even to Rosso there. So Rosso now back up into his 4th position, which is where he was before the pit stops. But now, can he stay with the pack to try and get some positions? And now Panther and Antony, look at how Antony has lost out big time there, thanks to pitting so late. Bloodsport will have a similar issue, I am sure. 30 lap old mediums, he surely can't go any longer on these. 40 out of 56 laps to go. The top 3 is back to what it was as well. Exactly, so now pretty much things will resume as they are. Rosso still has the DRS, so he really wants to stay with this. Bloodsport has fallen out as well. He's at 1.5 seconds. So now, once the pit stops happen, Bloodsport lose out yet again. I don't understand why he didn't just come in and cover off the other driver of Rosso just to make sure he could get that done. He would have been in a prime position to do so. Or maybe he was just worried about coming into traffic. I'm not sure. But unfortunately for him, he's going to lose out big time here. And ultimately, he is going to be struggling for the rest of the race now, because he's going to come on to fresher tyres, but so will everyone else around him. And that's... who's that into the pits? That is Bloodsport. Okay, so Bloodsport will keep an eye on this as Saint Skillshoe sets the fastest lap of 1:35.523. So right now, as it stands, Saint Skillshoe setting the pace in 3rd position. Now, of course, he doesn't need to make the overtakes. He just needs to stay where he is, and he'll be all right. So Bloodsport going on to the softer compound of tyre for the rest of the race. But look at that. All that progress he has done is all undone. Down into 11th. There's no 9th nerd now with the 3-second penalty. So now he has to genuinely race the cars around him. So that means one driver is only without a penalty, and that is Saint Skillissue in 3rd position. And you've got to say, Saint Skillissue really showing the entire field how it's done. So at the moment now, Saint Skillissue probably going to win driver of the day for me, just because he was able to keep it clean. Simply do not go off track, which in these games is easier said than done, I won't lie. So, like, you know, I sympathize with the drivers here, because for some reason this game is the hardest, is one of the hardest to keep between the white lines. I say that every time I commentate this game, but it is true. I don't quite know what the science behind it is, but it's just one of those things, unfortunately. Now, at the moment, Saint Skillshire is looking the closest he's ever had for 2nd position. The drivers in the midfield have separated themselves out, apart from Vers and Mr. Goat. So let's check on those penalties. Vers and Mr. Goat in a genuine battle for position at the very least. They both have 6-second penalties, so one to keep an eye on there. But Saint Skillshire, and with this top 3, definitely going to provide the bulk of the entertainment. And there you go, Saint Skillshire tried to go around the inside of turn number 1, wasn't able to get that done. He's surely not going to try anything through the Maggots and Baggots inspired corners. He doesn't. And I think Hockey Adam is just trying to fight with Saint Skillshue to force him into a mistake and give him a 3-second penalty for track limits. So let's see if he can do that. Or maybe Max Martin as well, because don't forget, they're all going to be within DRS. We have 15 laps to go, so anything can change as of right now. But Vers and Mr. Goat are two of the well, along with this, are the closest battles on track right now. Vers trying to get 5th position from Mr. Goat. So there you go. Saint Skillshoe up into 2nd position with the DRS. Bloodsport with another 3-second penalty. This has been a miserable second half of the race, just because he's lost all the ground that he gained and now lies in 11th position as it stands right now. So unfortunately for him, not a lot of time to make up time, and has got a penalty at the end of the race. Unfortunately for him, I think that's probably where he's going to finish, if not lower, if he incurs more penalties. So he just needs to be careful, and maybe just best get the car to the finish line and then come back next week in Saudi Arabia to try and fight for the win again. So as of right now, Saint Skillshoe sets the fastest lap again. In fact, that my previous, I think, prediction was incorrect there. So I think it was a 1:55.23, but now it's a 1:4.94 or 1:35.494, I should say. So that means Charles Leclerc's record set in 2019 has been beaten by 7 tenths by Saint Skillshoe. So Charles Leclerc, look, watch out behind you. Your Ferrari seat is in trouble. But at the moment, Saint Skillshoe trying to win this on track. And just kind of say, I'm going to win this anyway. I may as well come across the line in first. And I can understand that as a racing driver who's done this before. It's always best to come across the line as the winner rather than not settle it on track. So at the moment, we'll see Saint Skillshoe surely get this done. He is really close, 3 tenths of a second. And Max Martin with no DRS, he's going to put a defense up anyway to try and force Skillshoe into a mistake. But nil and void there. Unfortunately for him, Max Martin unable to hold him off there, but fought as hard as he possibly could. So surely Max Martin will now try and fight back when we get to the next DRS zone. But there you go, Max Martin dives down the inside of Saint Skillshoe, forcing him right. Bit of contact there. This is for the lead of the race, and they're fighting like they're on even keel, and you love to see it. This is amazing racing. Here we go again, Max Martin not giving this up yet. Here we go. Saint Skillshoe is getting the gloves thrown off. Everybody is throwing their gloves off. Hockey Adam is involved in this as well. But guess what? Mr. Go has got a 3-second penalty in all of this. And Saint Skillshoe doesn't have the DRS. It doesn't matter. He's trying to use the slipstream. Hockey Adam into the lead right now. This is amazing stuff from the top 3. Great entertainment. We have had 44 laps of racing, and it is going down to the final 13 laps. This is great stuff here. Vers means with that penalty, he will have 5th position, of course, just to come back to that. So that battle has become nil and void, but Saint Skillshoe just has to keep it between the white lines. But I don't think he cares about that too much. I think he just wants this done on track so that he can at least say I came across the line in first. So that means I will be in first position. Of course, it doesn't matter thanks to the penalties. But at the moment, Saint Skillshoe still trying to fight this. He has DRS again, but so does Max Martin. So surely we'll see changes of position. Here we go, going into turn number 12. Everybody hold station for now. But at the moment, I think Saint Skillshoe might have gotten a track limits warning for cutting turn number 12 there as well. That did look like a cut, but then again, maybe he's perfected that down to an art form. Now, of course, this is where Max Martin started that domino effect of when the Hockey Adam got through. A brave dive down the inside from Max Martin there. He is not giving this up. Of course, Max Martin, I hate to say it, unfortunately has a 6-second penalty, so that means he's just got to simply stay in front of Rosso, and he'll at least have 3rd. So the battle with Hockey Adam is also a bit nil and void, but I don't think that's taken away from the spectacle that the drivers are putting on right now. Some great racing between them regardless. As we come into turn number 1, everybody holds station for the time being. Vers has begun to just kind of take it easy with Mr. Goat. He knows he's got that position all sewn up, so he's actually kind of started to kind of come out of the DRS zone. In fact, there you go. We briefly saw it go to 1.1, but I think, hang on, Vers did have a chance there. He was definitely closer than he'd ever been, but at the moment, it's unfortunately all nil and void as of right now. So we're focusing on the top 3 battle because this is where the fun is at the moment. With 12 laps to go, this isn't going to be over till the final lap, unfortunately. So Hockey Adam will just be hoping that Saint Skillshoe has a mistake and it could go down to the final lap. and maybe, well, as he said, it definitely will. The top three have remained nose to tail throughout the entire race. And there you go, slight look up from Max Martin. They're trying to go down the inside. There was a tank slapper there from the Ferrari. I thought Sitzklischer was going to take advantage of that, but unfortunately wasn't able to. So he has to remain in third for the time being. But of course, this is where how hard does Hockey Adam fight Saint Skillishu to try and force him into a mistake? That's going to be the interesting question here. Because obviously, he doesn't want to incur any additional penalties that the stewards might frown upon later in the race. Well, after the race, I should say, post-race penalties. So he doesn't want to force the issue, but at the same time, he's probably thinking, how do I go about this in the most nuanced way possible? We'll see what he does. So now we have 11 laps to go. DRS has opened on both Hockey Adam and Saint Skillishu. No moves being made, of course. Of course, the next car behind them is Rosso with 7 seconds between them, though. At the moment, Rosso looking to be in prime position to be in fourth there, and definitely one of my drivers of the day. But Saint Skillishu as well, I think, will definitely be an outstanding suggestion here. And also, thank you to the top three for providing an intense battle all the way through and giving us great entertainment to watch. But here we go. So now we are approaching turn number 11, the next DRS activation zone. Here we go. So Max Martin will be vulnerable to the drivers behind. Will we see another three-wide spectacle like we have done so many times this race? Hockey Adam getting closer and closer. Looks to the inside, or at least I thought he would, but holds position for now. So evidently he knows that Max Martin has more penalties, has more time included in penalties than him. So maybe Hockey Adam is now starting to form in position. And then again, I'll say that as Alteza sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:34.687 as it stands right now. So that means Saint Skillishu loses the privilege of the fastest lap. And now, will he try and go for it again? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to matter all too much to him. He takes the win at the end of the day. As another 3-second penalty for Hockey Adam for track limit. So now, Max Martin in a genuine fight with Hockey Adam. And now Hockey Adam will surely realise that and will want to try and get past Max Martin as soon as possible. But now, with 10 laps to go, the complexion of the battle has changed yet again, and that means now Max Martin can genuinely take second place away from Hockey Adam. It has been tough for the drivers here. Of course, Saint Skillishu, the only one without a penalty, and you know what, not representative of the name at all. Saint Skillishu, maybe you want to change that to Saint Skill the Great, I don't know. I'm not very good with names, so please take that one with a pinch of salt. But anyway, Saint Skillishu getting onto the back of Hockey Adam, and might now just want to have this done because Hockey Adam is losing touch slowly with Max Martin, and Saint Skillishu really close now. He's surely going to try and look to the inside now, but no, wasn't able to gain quite enough there going into turn number 12, so he has to hold position for the time being. That battle, of course, as we were commenting on earlier, between Burrs and Mr. Goat has rather calmed down. It's kind of gone between the 1 second to half a second gap, so unfortunately Burrs is starting to lose touch, but ultimately Burrs knows that Mr. Goat has more penalties to serve at the end of the race than him, so he's just taking it easy for the time being. But at the moment, the focus now really does turn to this top three. Of course, Saint Skillishu is the effective leader due to penalties at the end of the race, thanks to track limits. 9 laps to go. We are now approaching the tail end of this Grand Prix, and what a Grand Prix it has been. Now Hockey Adam in a genuine fight for position with Max Martin. They both share 6-second penalties for track limit violations. And now Hockey Adam will know this and will want to get past as soon as possible. They are on the same age of tyres, the same compound of tyres. So this means that they are all in genuine fights with each other. Of course, if it wasn't for the penalties, this would be really exciting stuff. So it's a shame that both Max and Hockey have incurred penalties in this regard. So at the moment, Saint Skillishu surely wants to make a move and try and get to the line in first position rather than third, although we'll soon see how much that matters to him. They are both catching up to Alteza, by the way, who of course has had a miserable day at the office, was one of the championship contenders in season 4, of course, and ultimately didn't want to be last position on the grid today, but unfortunately he's had no choice in the matter. A spin early on in the race has meant that he is wallowing away in last position, and of course has had to make 2 pit stops. One, I believe, was contact with one of the drivers that is no longer with us in the race. So we have gone from 18 to 13 drivers, and all of the drivers here have put on one hell of a show for the broadcast today. It has been an enjoyable watch, and it is not over just yet. We approach number 49 out of 56. We have... Oh no! Max Martin has binned it into the barrier! As we were talking about how this was going to be a grandstand finish, Max Martin said, I have other ideas. I'll just spin it into the barrier. And that means he's under threat from Rosso behind. So all of a sudden, Max Martin has completely undone his race, and now St. Skillishu just has one driver to worry about, and Hockey Adam will now have 2nd position, but also he doesn't have the DRS, as Panther makes a move on Night Nerd there for 8th position. So that battle formed in the background while we were watching him, but now Mr. Goat has been able to break the DRS of Vers, and now Vers has fallen into the crutches even, I should say, of Big Sauce. So at the moment, the legend, man, the myth, the legend, Big Sauce there, trying to break the 3-second barrier to Panther, because if Panther remains within that 3-second window, that means he gets 7th position from Big Sauce. So Big Sauce will want to have this done as soon as he possibly can, as Hockey Adam now does lose the lead to St. Skillishu. And of course, Hockey Adam will have a job trying to force St. Skillishu into not 1 but 2 errors. Hockey Adam is now in contention for at least 2nd position, but how much... Oh no, Mr. Go has now forced an error. Well, has gone into a unforced error and has incurred another 3-second penalty. Now for the race for 5th, I don't think that's too big of... Well, hang on a minute, I say that, but Mr. Goat has incurred 2 additional penalties. So at the moment, Mr. Goat needs more than what he's got right now to keep the position he has. So Mr. Goat, despite making positions in the race, it's all going to be undone with a 12-second penalty, and all for track limits. So, and now Max Martin has gone into the pits, so he's got damage. Max Martin goes from bad to worse. He now has to pit and has to replace his front wing. Max Martin now with his teammate and is in 11th position. What a way to undo what has been an excellent race for him. But unfortunately, he couldn't take it to the finish line. So now that means, at the moment, Hockey Adam is outside of the DRS of St. Skillishu. I believe, no, he's just stayed within. But that means St. Skillishu has completely ran away with this, has showed all the drivers how it's done. We have 7 laps to go as it stands right now. And Hockey Adam, is he just trying to... I don't know if he can do much to force St. Skillishu into a mistake at track limits. He's been so consistent. St. Skillishu has called the right strategies when he's needed to, and now has 1st place as a reward for all of it. What a 100% race from him. He has treated this like an absolute professional. I will want to see how many stops he's made, and everybody, well, most drivers have gone for a 2-stop strategy. The only reason you see 3 and 4 is due to mistakes and maybe incidents that have happened while they were racing. So at the moment, Hockey Adam still within that DRS zone, and I think has just decided to secure 2nd place. He's got no pressure around him at all. Max Martin, though, the biggest loser in all of this, I would imagine. While he will finish 11th, he does not have time to bring down the gap to Bloodsport. And of course, Bloodsport had an absolute miserable day at the office as well. Had something happen at the start-finish line, which meant he couldn't start. Made up some great positions, and unfortunately, due to his pit strategy, has unfortunately meant he is now wallowing down in 9th position. It has been a miserable race for him. Now, Big Sauce has actually made a move on Vers there, and Vers has incurred another 3-second penalty. So that means now he is going to lose a lot more than 6th position. He's going to be finding his way well down the grid towards the end of the race. So I think he'll be at least, I would say, in 9th position if Bloodsport can get a move on, but I think his tyres are just so old. He's used the best of them. They are 11 laps old, And now, as we approach the end of the Grand Prix, they will fall off even further as the Grand Prix goes on. So at the moment, Bloodsport has just suffered, and Max Martin has suffered as well as Alteza. Let's not forget about Alteza. He's had an absolute miserable day at the office as well. So, you know, definitely improvements. He'll be looking to make improvements coming into next week. And of course, just while I have you here, while nothing is happening nothing of great consequence is happening, we will be back next week in Saudi Arabia for a 100% race. So hopefully the track limits shouldn't be an issue for the drivers due to that being a street circuit. But then again, I have seen other things happen, but Hockey Adam doesn't want to give this up at the moment. Even with 5 laps to go, he still thinks that he can force St. Skillishu into some sort of mistake, as Max Martin with a 1:33.890 showing excellent pace. I didn't think he had time to catch up to Anthony there, but guess what? Anthony has lost about 4 seconds over the last couple of laps, so evidently those fresher, softer compounds doing Max Martin a lot of good now, and he'll be looking to make a couple of positions. Let's keep an eye on the penalties. Of course, he has more penalties, so not only would he have to overtake Anthony, he would also have to get 3 seconds, and with 5 laps to go, I don't see that happening, to be honest with you, because then once you've caught up to the car that you need to overtake, you then also need to create the gap. So at the moment, and I know I've just caught that late, but Rosso is now in 3rd position as Big Sauce now makes a move on Mr. Goat, and Panther makes a move on Night Nerd. So Panther improves up into 7th position. Big Sauce up into 4th now. And guess what? Rosso might be under pressure here from Big Sauce. Or he would be if he didn't have 3 more seconds in penalties. So Rosso, I think, has got that 3rd place all sewn up. So Rosso, with an excellent job there. Definitely another contender for driver of the day. But I think, in all honesty, the driver of the day, as it stands right now, belongs to St. Skillishu. Due to the fact that he's been able to keep it between the white lines. And that's simply what I'm basing it on. St. Skillishu, while the other drivers have found it hard, St. Skillishu has made this look easy and has been a prime example of how you race at Kota in this game. And as we move on to F1 24, of course, that will be coming out later next month. He's definitely enjoying things as they are right now. So definitely want to keep an eye on in this league when we go into the next one, as Max Set gets another 3-second penalty. What are we looking at for him? 6 seconds worth of penalties. But Mr. Goat here, miserable day at the office. 12 seconds worth of penalties. Vers as well, 9 seconds worth of penalties. The 2 highest there as Hockey Adam makes a move for the lead there. St. Skillishu doesn't really fight that too hard. You can't really blame him. To be honest, he's got no penalties. He doesn't need to fight Hockey Adam. There's no real loss for him here from losing that. Once he comes across the start-finish line, which of course at the line, 3 laps to go, he will have that position all sewn up anyway. But Big Sauce is trying to actually bring down the gap to Rosso here. Now, of course, it doesn't really matter if Rosso loses out to the next 2 drivers, dare I say all of them, as Max Martin now makes a move on Anthony there. So Max Martin gets past, but does he have enough time to get his foot down and try and get that 3-second gap with 2 cars in front of him? That's impossible. So now 3 laps to go of the race. It's been an excellent Grand Prix, and Alteza has been lapped. He's gone into the pits and decided to take the soft compound of tyres. So he's going for fastest lap of the race as it stands right now, I do believe. And I think he's actually just trying to save the tyres. He's treating this lap like a quali lap, as Max Martin now makes a move on Bloodsport there and gets that done. So at the moment, Max Martin trying his best to create a gap to Anthony to at least solidify 10th position, which it would be as of right now, but has definitely not got a lot of time left. 3 laps and 2 cars in front of him there as well. He is not going to be enjoying this. So at the moment, Max Martin with it all to do in only 3 laps. I think that's going to be a tall order, but then again, I say that and look at that. He's actually already caught up to the back of Night Nerd there, who's making a move on Panther. That might actually be what he needs here. So Max Martin will have DRS coming down the straight, and And here we go. The drivers keep it clean. Of course, Night Nerd got the move done on Panther. Max Martin was then allowed to come through. Panther with no DRS at all, as he didn't get to the detection zone with any DRS. So there you go. He lost out to both of them there. And at the moment, Night Nerd trying to have a fight with Max Martin there. Of course, Max Martin on the much faster compound of tyre says, okay, mate, do what you need to do. We have 2 laps to go now. As Vers goes wide again, try not to do that too much. You already have 9 seconds worth of penalties. Vers, though, has made an error going through turns number 16, 17, and 18. He was wide of the apex. Unfortunately for him, he just lets Max Martin through. So now, Max Martin with 2 laps to go. Can he get that done? It's Night Nerd with another penalty. So that's 6 seconds for him. Of course, now, that means he won't lose out to Night Nerd at the very least, but does still have to worry about Panther up ahead. So we'll see how this all turns out for Saudi Arabia next week. But Saint Skillishu at the moment still on the back of Hockey Adam, and has perhaps just decided to say, you know what, I'll slot in behind him for the time being, because Hockey Adam clearly wants this first position more than I do, and he has 6 seconds worth of penalties. But then as soon as I say that, Saint Skillishu looks to the inside there, going into turn number 12, and nearly thought about move, but ultimately it was all nil and void at the end of the day. But you know what? I think Max Martin has done just enough to remain in front of Panther, you know, because already Vers is 2.6 seconds behind Max Martin. And if you look at Panther, he's over that 3-second window. And now we're seeing Night Nerd make a move on Vers there. So Night Nerd, of course, this isn't going to be full position, because Vers has 3 seconds more penalty. Well, 3 seconds worth more penalties than him. But now the midfield have come alive in this fight for position. There's contact there with Vers, and the Ferrari tries to fit himself through there. Bit of a letterbox situation there. But Panther slots back in as Alteza sets the fastest lap of a 1:33.307. Of course, we are now on the final lap of the race. So 55 laps have been done. We are now on 56 out of 56. So Saint Skillishu, as it stands right now, if he can keep it between the white lines, will win the race as it stands right now. So at the moment, Vers in 8th position, and thank you for the subscription. Soraka. There, we are cutting us on the final lap. So there's an entertaining battle going on in the midfield here, which has boiled up. Went quiet in the middle of the race, but towards the end, with all the strategies playing out, as Saint Skillishu does get and make a move for the lead, so he will come across the line in first at the end of the day. Soraka saying Alonso was the GOAT today. I can't remember where he finished in the Grand Prix, unfortunately. But anyway, we are focusing on this battle. Of course, we need to focus on the penalties. So Anthony is actually the one with the fewest penalties, as well as Panther. So Panther and Anthony will be the ones making moves here. And there you go. There is Max Martin making a move on Mr. Goat. Of course, he doesn't actually need to do this. And guess, because he has the right amount of penalties. But guess what? They can... Guess what, Matt? So I can see, and guess what? The top 2 have finished. So Saint Skillishu has won. We are focusing on the battle here. Somebody has parked up. That is Mr. Goat losing out to other drivers as well. But Saint Skillishu has won the race. We're focusing on the other drivers, though. But Max Martin, can he make a move on the final corner on Big Sauce? No, he can't. So that means Max Martin will have 5th, at the very least, as it stands right now. Night Nerd will come across the line in 7th. Panther has made a move on Vers on the final corner. He didn't really need to, but there you go. Vers losing out all the way down to 11th there. So the ending, as it is Saint Skillishu in first, Hockey Adam in second, Rosso in third, Big Sauce in fourth, Max Martin in the end recovering from 11th to 5th. So at least he had a decent final few laps there. Panther in 6th, of course, benefiting from penalties, as well as Anthony there in 7th. I'll go through the rest of the grid in just a moment. The predicted 4-stop would have been the fastest track. You discount the safety car, and it shows with Max new tyres. It does. You know what? Herman 26 there with a good point. If there was no safety car, the 4-stop would have been the fastest strategy there. So that is an interesting call, that from the AI. But anyway, it is what it is now. So we are just going to load in, and we will, of course, look over the final results once all is said and done. And there you go. There's the Haas driver of St. Skillishu celebrating his win on the top step of the podium. That is the Norwegian driver there, shaking hands with the trophy presenter. So there you go. Happy days for the Haas team there, and their first win in the 100% race. St. Skillishu definitely one to look out for in this one. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. We will end it in just a couple of minutes, but definitely the main talking point out of this Grand Prix will be the track limits. And will they transfer to Saudi Arabia? We hope not. So anyway, as it stands right now, St. Skillishu, your winner of today's Grand Prix, with Hockey Adam in second, Rosso in third, great race from him, Big Sauce in fourth, fifth is Max Martin, Panther in sixth, Anthony in seventh, eighth is Mr. Goat, ninth is Night Nerd, Bloodsport rounds out your top 10, Vers in 11th, 12th is Maxette, Alteza in 13th for your finishers, Something, Lee Dog, Pink Panther, Polka Petri, and Lasser rounding out your non-finishers of the race. And there you go. That was a 100% race on F123. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. It was a great time. It was a great time on the stream, and it was a great time on the track as well. So, at the moment, we will be back next week in Saudi Arabia for the Quad Racing League 100%. That will, of course, take place at the usual time of 2 p.m. BST or 3 p.m. Central European time. We will see you back then, but otherwise, that is all from me on today's broadcast. St. Skillishu takes the win in excellent fashion, and you know what? He is looking very good. Can Max Martin or Hockey Adam bring the race to him next week? Stick around, same time next week to find out. Otherwise, from wherever you may be in the world, I wish you a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Stay safe, stay alive. See you next time. Bye-bye.